Hello, this is Simon Chilambo here. I welcome you to our program, Diaspora Magic Talks Show, on the platform of In the Mix Style, media houses, internet and DAB radios, as well as Facebook Live videos. In these hard coronavirus times, I extend my heart to everyone in the world. I hope and wish that everyone is living well and strong. Those who are ill, those who've got health issues that are compounded by the virus, I wish you speedy recovery. Coronavirus has caused a crisis in the world economy, reminiscent of the 2008 global financial crisis, from which I got a knock that I have yet to recover from. So those of you out there, me included, having a hard time, losing jobs or fearing, job losses because they are coming, and losses of business, as clients, and everybody falls off. I feel for you. Big, powerful incidents like this change everybody. We will be fine. It's only a matter of time. We just have to be resilient enough. When it's over, there's no guarantee that things will be the same as before. So if suddenly you find that you're out of business, I'm much more concerned or interested, in people who work for themselves, entrepreneurs like myself, and many of us, live from hand to mouth. It takes time, a long time, especially in the diaspora, where again many of us first generations are on our own. We don't have any backups from some rich uncle next door, or not too far away. We depend on ourselves, our energy and our minds. But when big things like this happen, stuff that we have no control over, when we get a knock, we get a knock. From my personal experience, I can only advise, I can only suggest, that everybody calm down. Easier said than done, but I've been there. I've done it. Embrace this situation, because there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do, the stuff that you can control, is that you can breathe. For as long as you live, you can breathe. For as long as you can breathe, you can control your feelings, you can control your thoughts. Think positive. Everybody says, again, easier said than done. But you've got to be prepared that when things finally become all right again, you might rebuild your business, but it's not going to be the same. There's no guarantee that you'll have the same clients coming back to you. There's no guarantee that they'll be expecting the same kind of service. People come out with different mindsets. Remember that this thing hits everybody. Some might not even come back at all, and then you find that you just have no chance of rebuilding your business. You have to find something else. You have to look for a job, and the whole, society, job market, business, organization, management, that changes, So, but the only thing that you can control is your thoughts and your feelings, and it will be all right. If it doesn't work out, you fail to rise, at least fall. Or if you die, die, fighting. It doesn't matter, what you think of yourself by way of being an influencer. You've got to remember, that you've got to be aware of the fact that, it doesn't matter if you are somebody else somewhere is looking at you. They might not say it, they might not show themselves up, but somebody is looking at you for inspiration, for hope. Hope is what puts our dreams into perspective, and then to fire up, to actualize our dreams as contextualized, by our hope. We have the faith, and we say, everything's going to be all right. And then your faith is in turn fired up by the things that you do to stay alive, to give you strength, to tune up your mind, to keep your feelings, your emotions, alive. If you are sick, if you are ill, you take your medication. That fires up your faith. That gives you strength. You need the spiritual sustenance. You go to church. You read your Bible. You read your Quran. You read your Torah. Anything. That your faith and whatever that is. The Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't matter what your belief is. That feeds your faith. And that what gives you strength. Your family, your friends, your habits, your hobbies, You might read, you might write, you might train, anything. So do all those things, never give up. Don't give up, because, this is a cycle, It just turns, on and on and on. We'll fall, we'll rise, we'll fall, we'll rise. Sometimes we'll just keep rising. It happens to some people. Good for them. And some will fall and never rise. Again, that's tough. But whatever the case, whether we fall and stay there or rise, there's always something to learn to help us move forward or sustain, the condition that we find ourselves in. The most important thing, is to embrace the idea, to live, with the idea that you can only be who and what you are. That's my personal philosophy. You can only do what you do. It's just the way it is. We can have all these dreams of doing and achieving great things, but your launching pad is the condition where you are here and now. The things that you can do. The place where you are, concretely, So that's the most important thing, know who you are, know yourself, know your capabilities, here and now, and on the basis of that, you can project your potential, and that potential firing up in return your hopes, from hope to faith, and then from faith to the realization of your dreams. Writing, which has culminated in my publishing 6 books so far since the second half of year 2015, has helped me tackle perhaps the most difficult, the most challenging time in my adult life. And I would like to share with you a piece that I wrote for my blog and published on Monday, the 16th of March. It's called Should I Die? COVID-19 Reflections. In 1998, my father died solitary in a bachelor quarters in Tshwane, South Africa. My mother followed 20 years later. Pneumonia-related complications in both cases. There were about 11 other fellow patients in my mother's ward at the hospital in Tabong, Velkom. She had kept everyone awake all night with her mourning, in pain, crying out an unknown name all along. Nevertheless, she managed to eat her 7 hours breakfast that fateful Sunday morning, much to everyone's delight, since she hadn't had much appetite the 2 previous days. After eating, she fell asleep. When my nephew Josi and I went to check on her during the morning visit hour between 10 and 11 hours, we found her sleeping peacefully, apparently. After hearing the report by fellow patients about my mother's restless night, we thought it wise not to immediately awaken her. She could have a full sleep during the course of the morning, and we would come back to see her again in the afternoon as per routine. 15 minutes into our arrival in the ward, an impatient family friend found that my mother was cold and lifeless. A few minutes later, a doctor declared her officially dead. She had probably died 2 hours earlier. No one had taken notice. It was one of those cases of she died peacefully in her sleep, I guess. Perhaps the same may be said about my father. He had been dead for about 2 days by the time his corpse was found in his residence. I opt to convince myself that, indeed, both my parents died peacefully in their sleep when their respective times to go arrived. Neither was surrounded by their loved ones upon breathing their respective lasts. The thought of whether or not my own death will pounce on me in solitude has been on my mind since February 1991. I had for the first time ever gotten ill with what I later understood to have been an acute attack of the flu. Bedridden with high fever and profuse sweating for 3 days in my single student room, I was so weak that I was unable to lift a telephone, sitting beside me on my bed to call my school or doctor in Oslo. 1 week later, I had recovered without having had received any medical attention. An older, more knowledgeable friend told me that I had actually had a close brush with death. Perhaps I should consider getting myself a wife, he suggested. He argued that many people who live alone tend to die unnecessarily because there is often nobody there to render immediate assistance in times of emergencies. In the Northern Hemisphere, spring of 1995, I had a first-time mean attack of hay fever. I didn't know what it was at first. For many days, I kept sneezing like what I thought was like a madman. Then I began to cough as inexplicably madly. What I thought sounded like a small cat soon started mewing in my chest. This made breathing painfully difficult, even at the mildest physical exertion. Then I knew I was in trouble. At great financial cost to me that I could afford regardless, a former lover at that time then finally hastily made it possible for me to acquire an emergency cocktail of various tablets, capsules, and an assortment of asthma medicines. Had I been alone at that critical time, I could have died from pneumonia, the former lover said later. Today, the coronavirus disease COVID-19 pandemic, moving at a frighteningly fast pace, is threatening human life across the globe. The United Nations and national governments are taking drastic and, in some cases, human rights defying draconian measures in individual and concerted efforts to isolate, treat, control, and eventually effectively manage the disease. The ideal situation would be to eliminate the disease, of course. But it will take time to develop necessary, relevant curative and preventive medicine. Researchers the world over are currently working at breakneck speeds to achieve the latter. Millions of people are under various levels of quarantine throughout the world, depending on suspected or actual infections and severity. Much of the industrialized world is under lockdowns. People whose immune systems are compromised from before are dying rapidly. Some people are quarantined in their private homes with their near family units. I am alone in my abode. I am feeling well and strong. I can't help though but think about my mortality in the event that my health should take a sudden COVID-19 related downturn. Some other shit could happen too. One never knows when shit will hit the fan. I can't help but think that were I to die now, I sure would do so peacefully. I would die with no beloveds of mine surrounding me. If it happened to my parents, it might as well be the same with me. Family solidarity, family tradition. I am their eldest child, after all. Like my parents, I leave no great fortunes behind. It's just as well for me that, unlike my parents, I leave no children behind. As to whether or not it's a good thing to die as my corpse shall be in a cremation oven, I shall find out upon arrival on the other side. In the meantime, I can't help thinking about one of my all-time favorite songs, If I Should Die Tonight by Marvin Gaye. I've loved this song ever since the release of the Let's Get It On album in 1973, whereas the album title hit song planted me to its moment and has stuck with me to this day. if I should die tonight continues to jettison me to a period that I now know marked the closing chapter of the happiest times of my childhood years. At the close of the 1960s decade to March of 1970, I got honey sweet infatuated with an older woman that remains one of the most beautiful women I have ever seen. This woman was mother of my puppy love object at that time, and she was heartwarmingly kind to me. This woman had the sweetest of sweet song voices. She, together with some of her male contemporaries in our neighborhood, used to sing a cappellas of popular soul hits of the time. When a man loves a woman, crying time, stand by me, and many more. The sweetness that the whole of my being feels at thoughts of this woman is one of the sources of my emotional and spiritual strength at any time. This sweetness constantly fuels my desire to live and to love for as long as my life and capacity to love shall last. For I live, for I love, I shall dream, I shall hope, I shall create. For I create, I shall live forever. I don't have to meet the perfect woman for a lover. It's not necessary. It's not important for me at the stage of life that I have now reached. I don't really need to. But this, if I should die tonight, lady, is one of those women that have profoundly impacted my life. That to such an extent that I pin on memories of her my belief that a perfect woman for a man is found somewhere there out in the wide, wide world. Even then, like the song says, if I should die tonight, though it be far before my time, I won't die blue, 'cause I've known her. There is much more to the phrase, I won't die blue, for me. I won't die blue, never. I'll die a contented man, should I die at this very moment. It's a daily preoccupation of mine to seek to do all that is within my powers to prolong my longevity for as long as it is possible. If I have a predetermined lifespan, I want to beat it. Should I, however, die at this very moment, I'll die a well-pleased man, knowing that I have defied death several times before. I am convinced that I have lived way past my allotted lifespan. But this I can only confirm to be true or false upon my getting onto the other side. If all truths of my life are indeed found on the other side, I certainly will be a happy man should I die now. Finally, I shall get to confirm who I really am, what my real purpose in life on earth was. Until then, within the best of my cognitive potential performance, given limitations of my human existential imperatives vis-a-vis universal creation, the following is the consciousness I will be taking with me should I die now. For all their strengths and their vulnerabilities, I got the best parents that I deserved. I would choose them again could I start all over again. I love my parents very much with all my heart. I admire them beyond words. The joys of their lives I never think too much about. Joy never bothers me at all. I take it for granted that life ought to be a joy, pure joy. Have joy, no worries. But I feel the pains of my parents' lives from their beginnings to their ends. Against the toughest odds, my parents managed to nurture the life that they had given me. They gave me all they could according to their life circumstances as a couple and as individuals in a hard world. They had to endure untold sufferings, make huge sacrifices for that I could breathe and subsequently have the power to curve, own spaces of manifestations of my influence through my creativity on planet Earth. If my creative power, influence, manifestations transcend planetary boundaries into the furthest realms of the universe, it is owing to, in search of, and for my parents on the other side. I want to tell them that I am a humble but proud symbol of that they indeed left this world a better place than they found it. Thank you very much. In all my endeavors, I am heavily inspired by my parents. It is in their honor that I do the good that I am often told that I do. It is for me and me alone to take the heat for the bad that I do. The bad that I do is never representative of the upbringing that my parents gave me. The errors I commit from time to time are a reflection of my own failings, my own stupidity embedded in my own inherent human imperfections. My parents are not everything. My parents are but a microcosm of the grandeur of being human in the face of creation's stupendous infinite spectrum of possibilities, with all that humanity knows and has yet to fathom about it. I am not an emulation of my parents. I am but an extension of their joint and individual life forces. In that regard, creation dealt me a hand that is my own to play from birth. That in line with how I could synchronize with my parents' energy bundles influences in me. Also, according to how optimally I could utilize the unique powerhouse that I am in my personal journey through the infinitely intricate maze that is life. I hope that as they took their last exhalations, my parents knew in their respective lonesome moments of dying that I hadn't done half of what I had wished to do for them, in appreciation of their having brought me to life and all the good that they ever did for me. Furthermore, I hope that they knew that whatever little I did to make them happy were outcomes of only the best that I could do, having given only the best effort I could harness for the goal when it mattered. Consequently, I won't die blue if I should die tonight, because my heart is at peace in relation to my parents' lives and how, in their own way, they have contributed to making this world a better place than they found it from the times they were born. No, I won't die blue if I should die this moment. I won't die blue should I breathe my last tonight. I'll be by myself. No one making noise around me, delaying my dying process. Should I die now? It'll be peaceful, really. I won't be blue. I might see shades of blue because I'll take my death like it's an invitation into a meditative trance. I'll spread my wings to fill up the entire blue sky for a moment, bid farewell to planet Earth, and then merge with the vastness of space beyond. Before I disappear into outer space forever, I'll reach out to those earthly souls that gave me so much joy, so much love in the living. They will say they saw me in their dreams. It is for these people that I have no fear of death. These loving souls ever gave me so much more than I could ever ask for of their kindness and generosity. It is for these people that if I should die tonight, it'll be because my time to die would have arrived for sure. Just like my parents, I am no more than a microcosm of the grandeur of life. The good that I do is also grounded in the love, support, understanding, and tolerance of all these wonderful people that I've had the privilege of interacting with in my life. It is for these people that I won't die before it is my time. I won't die blue were death to take me away tonight, because I know that I never set out to make this world a worse place than I found it. Although I'll be dying knowing that, also here, I never achieved half of what I had dreamt of doing for the world. I gave the best that I could, given the opportunities accessible to me and my strength to work. With time, the illumination that I could only be that which I am here and now, and I could only do what I do in a given time and space, freed my soul. I understood that I could only allow myself to be taught, led, and inspired by others, but I could never replicate them and their deeds. Neither could I necessarily ever replicate external manifestations of their successes, if not their abilities to shape even global trends across the entire sphere of human endeavor. This was that moment of know thyself, landing home at last. By extension, it became clear that I also could only teach, lead, and inspire. It is never a given that all my proteges will share my values and social skills in the end. As such, I won't die blue should I die this moment, because I know that as much as I am loved, I am hated in certain quarters. The choice to love or hate is a personal prerogative based on certain reasons only known to the lover or hater. If these reasons ever are revealed, they do not have to make sense to the loved or hated. I know that if I should die tonight, I'll die with a smile on my face because I'm so full of love. I know that if I should die tonight, I'll die with peace because I know that I've had all the fun I could reach for and accommodate in my life. May haters have a good life. May coronavirus disease, COVID-19, die tonight. Perhaps not. COVID-19 knows no lovers, no haters, no irrational human segregation rules. If the virus stays just a little longer, humanity might at last learn that we can make this world a far better place if we all understood that we are all equally small and vulnerable against forces of nature. COVID-19 shakes even the foundations of both the concept of God and her might. Many an oppressor, a racist of the world, has God as their spiritual and purported racial superiority anchor. If COVID-19 destabilizes even the almighty God's multifaceted global movement, it goes to show that forces of evil seeking to destroy the good of humanity have no future. COVID-19 may be but a small pre-taste of hell. Another soul singer, Curtis Mayfield, has said, if there's hell below, we all gonna go. We might then as well all be humane towards one another as all one same universal person. But then again, this kind of talk is beyond cognitive capacities of propagators of racism and oppression in the world today. Ignorant fools, stupid idiots, psychopaths. It is these scum that COVID-19 must rid the face of the earth of. I have written much about my experiences from the 2008 global financial crisis fallout in these two books here. Machona Awakening, Home in Grey Matter, and Machona Blogs, As I See It. The books are available on Amazon.com. If you search Simon Chilembo, all the 6 of them will appear. If you are in Norway, if you are in Oslo, you can order the books directly from me. I'll sign before I send them to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is our Diaspora Magic Talk Show on the platform of In the Mix Style Media Houses, internet and DAB radios, as well as Facebook live videos. Through DAB radio, we are reaching out to Akershus, Oslo, and Drammen. Do please continue sending your feedback as to how we can improve the program to meet your expectations. Remember, we're here to serve you, our listeners, our viewers all over the world. I'm on social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Pinterest. I'm also reachable on the phone, which is also WhatsApp, Norwegian code +47 92 52 50 32. My email address is simon@chilembo.com. My blog is chilembowarriormoves.com. Or if you do chilembo.com, it will redirect you to chilembowarriormoves.com. Once again, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Remember, we are on the air every Wednesday from 18 to 19 hours. Do please be well, stay strong through this time. It's going to be all right. It might take long, it might take shorter period, but it is going to be fine. Do everything that you can to make yourself strong so that you are ready for takeoff when things become all right again. We don't want to be taken by surprise. Thank you very much once again. Love and peace always.